Gorilla Tag fan games were actually never supposed to happen.
Today I sat down and interviewed the creator of one of Gorilla Tag's biggest fan games, Trout VR. He's made fan games such as Poo Poo, Pee Pee, and Kong. He's going to uncover the truth of Gorilla Tag fan games, as well as how he got into making his own, and so much more. So do stick around if you enjoy. I have a big announcement at the end of the video.
How did you find out about VR?
When I was in 7th or 8th grade, we went to a college campus on like a field trip, and we were just kind of touring this place, and then eventually we came to a room where there was like a like an original Oculus Rift just set up there, like on the just on the table. And they were letting like kids go up and like get in line to try it out. And I was like, you know, I was like watching people play and like, whoa, they're like in VR, like, wow, that must be so weird. And then I put on the headset and I remember, I think everybody's had this experience where they felt like they were in like a completely different place. The first time you tried VR, it was like,
yeah, that first experience in VR is always the best experience you'll have.
Oh yeah, and then
unless you get motion sick, then it's bad.
Yeah, no, but I remember trying that. It was the Oculus demo, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get one of these. Christmas of 2017, I got myself a CV1.
I decided to do a little bit of research on you. I want to say you started off with Gorilla Tag animation.
Yeah.
Why did you want to do animation?
So in like 2020, I started researching YouTube, and I was really dead set on how to blow up. And I remember specifically thinking like every big creator has something that they're known for. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. So I'm like, okay, this is unique and never been done before. This is unique and never been done before. I was like, okay, we'll try 2D animation in like a Joel Haver style. That one took like a month, but after a month, it finally hit 1,000 views, and I lost my mind. Then I was like, okay, I gotta do 3D animation. I did that, and that one performed better. I never finished the 2D one because I started making the games, and then that's the thing that ended up sticking. But the whole point of the animation was to get my foot in the door with YouTube.
When I looked at your 3D animation, am I correct that started like the whole you wanted to make a fan game thing? Because if I'm correct, you did a little bit of that with it.
Like that wasn't even in Blender. That was just like me animating the camera in Unity and like setting up a scene in Unity instead of actually making like a proper 3D animation. It was so scuffed. But the fan game thing started not from that animation, but from like I remember somebody posted all the Gorilla Tag assets in the Gorilla Tag modding server. And I just downloaded those, and I was kind of just like fiddling around, and I was actually trying to make custom maps before. And then I noticed that the Gorilla Tag locomotion was open source on GitHub. I don't know how nobody else knew about it. I don't know like why nobody thought like, oh hey, this is, you know, like the locomotion for Gorilla Tag, maybe, you know, I'll make something with it. It was just there and nobody touched it yet. So I was like, oh, I might as well try something with this.
Now, did that like spark like a huge idea? Did you like big brain moment?
With it being public, like I remember watching Only GameStar channel back when he had like 230 subscribers, and I was watching because like, oh, this guy's got good thumbnails. And I remember when his PBBV video first blew up, and it was his first video to hit 100K, and he got 1,000 subscribers and he got monetized. And me in my mind, I'm like, oh shit, that's great. And then I watched somebody else have that happen to them, and then I watched another one have it happen to them. But none of them would replicate the previous success of that. And I was like, well, this is happening here, here, and here. How can I, like, why is this happening? And how can I replicate it on a consistent basis? Which was the whole point of me making the game, was actually to make a video. Like, I spent around 4 months on the actual development of the horror game, and around 5 months and then a month prior planning to make sure that, okay, you know, I researched how am I gonna market this, like what's the thumbnail gonna be like, well, yada yada, all the stuff to basically put to the test my theory of how can I get a video to get 100,000 views, and how can I get the next one to be 100,000 views? So I boiled it down to, one, it needs to be something that everybody's gonna cover, like it needs to be big news. Like PvPV was the thing. Making a horror game at that time was like perfect timing because everybody would associate it with PvPV. And then two, it's how are people gonna find out about it? Back when he had around 18,000 subscribers through the 2D animation. So for that, I had actually met J-Man back when he had around 18,000 subscribers through the 2D animation. That was how I met him. I asked him if he wanted to be a part of it, and he was like, he was down to. So I never finished his part, but I still had him added, and I asked him, give me, you know, making a Gorilla Tag horror game, give me like a couple things, like little Easter eggs, and I'll put them in the game. And he's like, oh shit, that's great. Yeah, let me know when it's done. And then, he gave me a list and I hid them around the map. He ended up covering it. And that coverage over it, I remember sitting in my English class in the back seat, like in the back, watching the premiere of that video. I remember thinking like very vividly, like nothing will be the same. And I was right. It never was the same after that. Foot into the door with YouTube, but...
Damn, you've answered 2 of my questions.
I told you I talk, bro.
How did the idea for Kong kind of come around?
There's a common theme after the horror game of me thinking certain things are not possible, even though in reality they were way more simple than they actually were, and I was being stupid.
Yeah, because like you had the first like game after that was you added like grappling hooks and stuff.
Yeah, and it was more like one, at first I didn't think multiplayer was possible. 2, I didn't think I could make it multiplayer and quest support, because quest you'd have to like ruin the graphics of everything, and I wasn't experienced enough to make something for that.
I remember playing the first multiplayer one you did. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I can see this going somewhere. And then you made the next one, which also had the horror aspect to it. I was like, okay. And then you added grenades. I was like, what is this man up to?
No, here's an interesting thing is that I think this will be great. You could put this in the intros, like one of the little teaser bits, but Gorilla Tag fan games were actually never supposed to happen. They were not supposed to exist. The way that fan games now was not supposed to be a thing. The reason behind that is when I set out to do like the multiplayer stuff, the entire, that wasn't planned. All the stuff with multiplayer, that was not planned. That was all purely done on accident. And it was actually being, the multiplayer was being developed for the horror game only. It was going to be multiplayer for the horror game because that was the first thing people were asking for. And I just happened to let some creators play what I was working on before I finished it. Everybody sees that and they're like, fan game? Remake ripoff of Gorilla Tag? And then they all started doing the same thing. And they all started just ripping off Gorilla Tag instead of making their own unique games. And then eventually I was just like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And I made mine public.
So with making all these different games, little Gorilla Tag fan games, the private ones and the public one, obviously there was a lot of ups to that. You got some of the biggest creators to play it. You've got a very popular fan game now, but what were the struggles? Did you have any big struggles with it? Did you ever feel like giving up with anything? Now's the time to let the audience know.
I started out working on the original horror game. I planned to do it all in a week, and eventually at some point, I got a lot of the features done for it, but I was with this girl for 2 years, and basically what happened was she ended up cheating on me and leaving me for somebody else right after I started working on the horror game. And that was I was just at my lowest point at that point. One thing that pulled it all through and made basically all of it possible was my friend's mom told him something that he ended up telling me, which was the best revenge is success. I could have sat there and I could have been angry and tried to take out, just talk all this shit about all the situation and everything, but I chose to put all of my energy into working on the horror game and having that be successful so that maybe later down the line, my choice to not give in to that could inspire somebody else to not give up through a situation of their own. That was probably the hardest thing I overcame.
This was during the development of Kong as well. Was it a big storm or something hit?
We had some irregular seismic activity that knocked my computer off of my desk and almost broke parts of our house. And that's happened several times. Oh my god, I was making the horror game. It was just during the day, I remember I was boxing in my garage, punching the punching bag, and everything just started going whoa, 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 whoa. And it was oh shit. And then I go up, after everything's calmed down, I go upstairs, my room is just fucking trashed, and my computer did a nosedive off my desk, and I had some CSGO knives, just decor inside the PC that were just rattling around as it fell. And this is the same PC I'm recording on, by the way, so that shit survived, but it survived 2 fucking big disasters.
Next time it happens, you're just gonna jump and grab your PC. Don't die this time.
I'm gonna have a ceremonial burial for this PC after it breaks finally.
Yeah, did you end up like losing progress on any games with that?
There's a clip of me fixing my PC and realizing, oh shit, I didn't lose anything. That was and I was like, I forget what I said. I was like, something, oh, she works, let's fucking go, or some shit, like, I don't know.
Did you have any like scrapped games that, you know, you'd gone into the void?
Yeah, I've actually got quite a few. I count everything that isn't Kong as a scrapped game besides the horror game. Everything else has been basically like we tried for a while to build a steady like base to build a game off of. And what ended up happening is we would get too carried away in making cool shit. We'd make a lot of cool shit, but it would not be a stable base to build on, and it would just result in us having complications with quality of life stuff. There was a point in time where Kong was going to be all PC, and it had like super high graphics and like lighting stuff and just things that we worked on. There's even like this whole like you actually bleep that part about the don't put that in there because we're gonna reuse that.
I just get the computer actually like, no way, dude. What are the ups and downs of having a, you know, decently popular Gorilla Tag fan game that's like public now?
I mean, the hardest one for most people is having it be secure. There was the whole hacking stuff that went down with Capuchin and all those other games, is that, you know, they were vulnerable in the way that they were programmed. I would say one of the most concerning things would be the security side of it. And the hardest part about it is the security side of it.
Is it hard to like is it hard to like secure everything with a fan game? Or?
Yes, it's very, like, especially for people starting out. The majority of people making fan games are younger. They don't have previous experience, and they're just going based off tutorials. And the way that they're programming things is very open for people to maliciously change things and do stuff. We've had to go through and secure everything, and like I would say security is one of the biggest things that, with running a fan game. The other one is maintenance, maintaining that. We've had some struggle with that because of the same problem beforehand, which was not having a steady base. Even though we set out to make a steady base, like we're already having to go through and like Frankenstein the old project and fix a lot of issues with it to make it a more steady base. Like there's a ton that we've had to do to fix it up. All right.
2 more questions I have here. So what has been your favorite moment of your entire career so far?
Favorite moment? That's really hard because obviously it's got to be like VidCon to an extent, because that's like the pinnacle where everything kind of just felt real. I don't think any part of YouTube felt like, you know, oh shit, I'm a YouTuber, until I had 2 kids come up to me when we were walking around at VidCon. I still remember their names and everything. They went up to me and it's like, yo, Trout, and he was like, wait. And he like went to dab me up. I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, bro. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, dude. And that was like most surreal thing, was like somebody like recognized me and knew who I was. I had one of them was a Make-A-Wish kid, and he ended up meeting Ludwig.
Yeah, I saw Ludwig spoke about that. I think he mentioned that they only got to meet Ludwig because one of the dads was a fan of him.
I remember he sent me a photo later because we were joking around, because he hung out with the guy who recognized me. He hung out with us a little bit while we were getting food. We were joking around like, oh, I want to meet Ludwig. And then after the event, he just sends me a picture of like him meeting Ludwig. I'm like, God, fucking hell. God damn it. That was probably my favorite moment when I got recognized for the first time.
Final question. I ask this to everybody. Out of all the YouTubers in the whole VR scene, who would you like to see interviewed next on my little show?
Oh, who hasn't been interviewed yet?
Good question. Nah, there's a lot of people out there.
Do you know Fizzy?
Yeah, he used to do Minecraft. Well, he does Minecraft, but
I think you should interview Fizzy.
Super sorry for cutting the video off very abruptly. This video was a little bit rushed due to sleep schedule and just whatever. But I do have 2 banger videos coming out. I got one really cool one, and then one like really, really cool one. But yeah, the sort of announcement is I have a Discord server. For some reason, people don't know about that. I'm going to be dropping subtle hints to my next big interview over on my Discord server, so come over.